Welcome back to Creator View Chronicles, the video series where I document the entire journey of building my indie app, Creator View. In this episode, we're going to walk through the whole process of how I got this app icon designed by a professional designer. Talking about the initial ideas, some of the iterations we went through, just basically how we got from idea to this final design. So from the start, I knew I wanted a Big Sur style 3D type app icon. And then I did what I always do when I want something. I put out a tweet for it. It's one of the benefits of having a following. So I put out this tweet, I got a bunch of replies with recommendations, DMs. In hindsight, I probably should have said app icon design and not app logo design, because 90% of the responses were just like general logo designers. Had nothing to do with apps or software, just typical logo designers. And I think 80% of those responses were like Fiverr bots, because it was like all the same design, all the same response. So I had to weed through all that. So I guess that's the lesson for you if you're ever going to try that, is specify app icon, or else you'll get a bunch of general logo designers. But anyway, Matthew Skiles was recommended to me. He was one of the few that I saw their portfolio, really liked what they did, so I reached out to him. He emailed me back, basically asking for information about the app. Basically, what is the app icon for? What does the app do? Do you have any brand or colors? Basic stuff the designer would need to know. So I gave him back all that information. This is a tool for people running a YouTube business. It's going to be very analytical with like charts, graphs, spreadsheets, and I want Big Sur 3D style. That was essentially what I sent back to him. And I also shared some screenshots of my sketch design just to give him an idea of what the app, did. And then he came back saying, yep, great, I'm available. This looks like something I can do. Let me send you the contract. Sends me the contract. We agree on the price. I sign it, send it off. The reason I went through that little process was because as soon as I sent that off, like literally 4 minutes later, I got a DM from one of my followers who's also a designer. Well, I guess he had been DMing me before, but he said he was gonna whip up something as a free preview, just as a show of appreciation for my tutorials and stuff, and get back to me. I don't really think anything of it because I didn't see his portfolio. I didn't know if he had any design skills. But right after I signed the contract, he came back with this design, which I really liked, the little glasses with the pie chart and the glasses. And as soon as I got that, I was like, shit, I just signed this contract and I really like this app icon. Don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with working with Matthew and how it turned out, but I'm just telling you my thought at the time as soon as I got that DM. I was like, damn, horrible timing. But it was also a relief because, I knew if, Matthew and I couldn't work together, spoiler alert, we did, and we couldn't think of something, I knew I had this as a backup. So I knew worst case scenario, I was gonna have this icon, which I really liked. So it made going into the process with Matthew very easy, I guess, because I knew I couldn't really lose. So after I gave Matthew a few directions to explore, right, I told him experiment with stuff like bar charts, line charts. I really like the idea of a magnifying glass, like Creator View, like you're looking through a magnifying glass into your business. I like that concept. I also explored the concept of a 30,000 foot view with clouds of your YouTube business, and then more chart stuff. So those are the general ideas I threw at him to come back with. And then he came back with these as the initial sketches. So immediately I knew the first two were too generic looking, nothing screamed YouTube, just generic charts. So let's get away from that. And then the way the magnifying glass came out, I just didn't like the way that looked. And if that's not a knock on Matthew's skill, seeing it, in a picture, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work. I think it's trying to fit the magnifying glass concept in an app icon. I just didn't think was gonna work. So we moved away from that. And then we have the ones with the clouds, which, the pie chart in the clouds, I wasn't really feeling, but the play button in the clouds, I really, really liked, especially when you picture the Big Sur 3D depth. I was like, oh, I think that's gonna look really cool. So I said, let's explore this one a little more, add some color to it. But it was really the one in the bottom right that even from day one, I was like, oh, I think that's gonna be the one. And the reason being is because, as somebody who likes spreadsheets, likes charts, very analytical, seeing a chart that's going up and to the right with a big play button, it just gave me the feels. I was like, ooh, I can imagine somebody as a YouTuber seeing that app icon and being excited to open that app and update their business info, right? It gave me a good feeling when I looked at it. So I pretty much knew this was gonna be the one. And that's what I told him. I was like, you know what? I do wanna explore the cloud in the play button just because I think that's gonna look cool. But let's explore some different looking line charts and some gradients on the one in the lower right, because I think that's gonna be the one. So after that feedback, he came back with this. And as you can see, the one in the clouds, I still think to this day looks awesome. And the reason I didn't pursue this further is I think if I name my app 30,000 foot view of your YouTube business, it makes sense. But without that context of a 30,000 foot view of your business, it looks like a play button in the clouds, maybe you're storing videos on a cloud server. It just didn't portray that analytical business feeling, even though I think it looks really, really cool. And then as you can see, we explore some different charts with the gradients, that kind of stuff. We haven't like 3Dified anything yet. Everything is a flat design. We made the 3D effects at the end. But the notes I gave him on this version was, let's play around with the colors of the lines. Like I like the red and green motif, like kind of like stocks, right? Green is up, red is down. And that plays a part in the app where, you know, if you hit your goal for the month, your bar on the charts turns green. If you missed it, it's red. I play with that green and red concept a lot in the app. So I liked having that green and red also in the app icon. But I also said, go nuts with colors. Like, let's see if maybe you can come up with some crazy color schemes and maybe, you know, an idea will come in mind. Because at this point, like, I didn't really have like official app or brand colors, right? We're still exploring. And the final note I gave him on this specific thing was you can see the charts, like at the very end, like the last tick is like a down tick. And again, that didn't give me a good feeling, right? You want to see the chart going up and to the right, constantly growing. If you have that down tick at the end, it seems like your most recent month was a downer, you know? So I was like, make sure the last month is going up, just to give that feeling of like progress and good stuff. So after I told him to go nuts with colors, this is what he came back with. And yeah, he went nuts with colors. And I saw a bunch of great combinations of different line colors, play button colors, background colors, and I picked out a few to explore further. And you see we landed here with System Pink as the dominant color. I kind of knew that was the direction I wanted to go as I was playing around with my app, and I call it System Pink because that's what it is in Xcode, right? Just .system pink. I guess in iOS 15 or Xcode 13 now it's just .pink, but it was System Pink. Anyway, I like that for the big play button because I didn't want it to be like YouTube red. Felt that was too on the nose. I did want a little bit of uniqueness, but then I also didn't want the red on the chart to compete with the red play button, so that's why we went with the lines on the chart not being red or pink, whatever, and being like shades of green that we explored here. And you can also see we explored a light icon and a dark icon, but you can start to see it come together. Again, we haven't 3Dified it yet, but it's really starting to take shape, and at this point, like I'm like really happy with it. So the final phase was to put the 3D effects on it, which you see here, which I really liked. I love the way it came out. Very happy with it. I think it looks awesome. And at this stage, like it's basically done. Changing some colors around isn't a big deal. So I had him take a little bit extra time to give me 4 icons because as you know, in iOS, you can have the user select alternate icons. So I wanted the user to have the ability to change the icon if they wanted to, mainly because there was a lot of color combinations that I liked. So the final deliverable ended up being these 4 icons that you see here. Pretty sure I'm gonna go with the one with the black background that you see here, but that may change. And again, worst case scenario, the user can change to whatever app icon they want. So back to the 3 main ideas. Again, we had the glasses from Nicholas, and then we had the play button in the clouds, and then the final chart one from Matthew. These were the main 3 ideas I ended up with, but ultimately, like I said, I liked the feeling I got when I saw the big play button and the up and to the right chart. That really spoke to me, and I think there's other crazy graph analytic people out there that will feel the same when they see it.